Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Coospo AP-B1 mini electric bike pump. Mini electric bike pumps are a rapidly growing bike accessory segment and offer a compact and reusable alternative to CO2 canisters for inflation on the go. The Coospo AP-B1 is one of the latest mini electric bike pumps on the market, and it's one of the first from Coospo, which is better known for their GPS cycling computers. Packaging wise, you can see it's very simple. You have a nice glossy representation of the pump right on it, the orange and white branding that Coospo is known for, and then specs written on the back. We'll go ahead and open this up and go over the full specs. Retail price on this is $79.90. However, there's a 40% sale right now, so I imagine the retail price will usually be on sale. It has a 120 PSI maximum, so you should be able to inflate just about any bicycle. And it has a fairly large 500 milliamp internal battery, which allows it to inflate up to 3 732 tires up to 80 PSI. This has USB Type-C charging, it's a nice modern charging interface. Has a battery status indicator and is compatible with Presta, Schrader, and even the inflatable ball nozzles. You can see very compact as well, so easy to store and take on a ride. As far as what comes with it, you have the pump itself, nice little fabric bag for carrying, and that'll prevent it from getting scratched. You have a little box here with the accessories inside it. So you can see we have the instruction manual. We have their flexible 2-in-1 hose, and this works with Presta or Schrader. And we have an additional bag here. We get their USB Type-C charging cable. There also is a little safety tether or kind of a wristband, so you can wear this around your wrist, though I'm not sure why you would. On the website, it actually lists this as an anti-lost cable, which is pretty funny, so it's a weird translation. You have the ball nozzle attachment, so you can see you just thread this on and then inflate a basketball or other accessories. And then you have the Schrader and Presta individual valves as well. Now let's take a look at the weight of the pump. So the pump by itself, it's about 127 grams. If you use the 2-in-1 hose, it's another 19. And then the individual ones, this is the Presta. It is 7 grams. And then the Schrader version is about 6. Visually, the Coospo AP-B1 has a rectangular profile with this rounded top and a plastic body. You can see there's vents cut into that body that expose the main pump here, and then some heat sinks on the main body. Compared to the more expensive pumps on the market, this is plastic, and it does feel cheaper, as you do see some of the molding lines on the plastic body, but that's not surprising given the lower price point. On the base of the pump, you'll find the exposed USB-C charging port. A little warning to indicate when this gets hot, it will actually block you from using it, which is a nice safety feature. On the side, you have this threaded base, which is used to attach the attachments for the different nozzle types. On the other side, you have that same vent. And then you have this big glossy section on the front face. Here's where you see the Coospo branding, the 3 buttons, which are actually labeled plus, minus, and then the power, and then the LCD screen above it. It is a decently sized screen, so you can see when you turn it on, pretty easy to read. And it is backlit too, so even in the dark, you have this nice white and green coloring to differentiate the different fields. As far as attachments, you have quite a few options here. So you can see the threaded base will work with the individual ones, and they're really easy to identify. So this is the Presta version, so you can see how it's threaded, and then the Schrader version, which has a little indentation that comes out the center. They have this nice rubber grip around them, and you just grab the pump and then thread it on. So pretty simple to use, but you can see with this setup, it is pretty bulky. It's larger than the CYCPLUS Max Pro, as the dimensions are 71.5 by 45 by 32 millimeters. So it's on the bigger side, so this might be hard to maneuver between spokes. So these individual ones do work, but depends on your bike setup. And you do have the ball attachment one, which is great for footballs, basketballs, or other things. But the coolest thing about this is really the 2-in-1. You can see it's a flexible hose. It's about 4 inches long. This one threads in just like the other one, so we thread in the main piece. And this lets you get a little bit further away from the nozzle and get between spokes, which is a nice feature. The other cool thing about this is the head is actually a smart head, so it'll work for Presta or Schrader, and you just have to do one trick. You just have to open this up, so you unthread this, and then you'll see the head of this, which is a nice metal design, and you can see the knurling. It actually just slides out, and then you can use it with the Presta valve, and you can see it rotates. This whole thing rotates around, and then when you want to use Schrader, when you bring it back, it's a little bit hard to see here, this will actually push down on the center of the Schrader valve. So it's a pretty nifty design. You don't have extra parts. With a lot of other pumps, you have to open this out, move a washer, flip it, which is really not that intuitive. So with this one, it's a very clever design. And then when you want to store this, you just unthread it. As far as using the pump, it's pretty simple. 3 buttons, and they're pretty clearly labeled. Each of them has a short press and then a double press feature. So with this, the power button, you do a long hold, turn it on. Long hold to turn it off, just like you would expect. And then a single press when it's on to go to the target inflation pressure, which is in green. Then you have the battery status and then the units. What's a little bit confusing here is you have the plus minus. So this will go all the way up to 120 PSI. And it's pretty slow. So what you have to do is sit here and hold it. You do have mode memory, so once you set it to your pressure, it will remember it when you turn it back on. But you can see it takes a little bit of time. And then if you double tap, you can see this will actually change the units. If you double tap the minus sign, and if you double tap the positive sign, this will actually turn on the LED on the bottom. It is very dim though, so not really that useful, unless you're in the pitch dark, as it's quite small. But again, it's very easy to accidentally hit it. If I want to go up faster, I would hit this really quickly, but it won't do anything. I'll just toggle this on and off. So kind of a design flaw. It would have been nice if a long hold would quickly change the numbers rather than going so slowly. So if we go down to a lower pressure, attach a nozzle. Once you have your desired pressure, you just press the power button. But I will warn you, this is very loud, so when it's on, you'll definitely hear it. Press it again to turn it off, but like most mini pumps, they're really obnoxiously loud. So you don't want to do this in a quiet house. But if you're on the roadside, definitely works well. As far as the battery life on here, it's pretty good. So you have a 500 milliamp battery, so it's on the larger side. And that lets you do up to 3 or 4 tires, depending on your application. So this one, you get 90 seconds to hit 80 PSI in a 700 by 32, and then 50 seconds for 80 PSI on 700 by 25. And with most tires, you should at least get 2 or up to 4 or 5 inflations before you have to charge a battery. So it's a lot better than a CO2, which you simply throw away, but it is slower. Now let's take a look at the pump in action. One of our favorite features is this 2-in-1 hose. It's flexible, so you can get in between spokes, get a better angle. And then the Presta to Schrader conversion is very simple. It's just that thread-on center section. So here we have it open for the Presta valve, and then we just screw it on. And if you had a Schrader, you would leave it screwed on and not extended. It's a really clever idea. The more annoying part about this pump is the user interface. So you can see if I'm trying to change the pressure value quickly, I tend to double click, and that's really a common feature, but with this one, it actually does other features like turn on the LED or switch units. So you have to sit there and either do it slowly or hold it down, and then you can see the numbers do change, but it's a lot slower than you'd prefer. Once you find and get your pressure, you simply press the button, and again, it's quite loud. It's also fairly slow, just like most mini pumps, so it takes a little bit of while, and it'd be a lot faster to use a floor pump, but on the go, it's not a bad solution and reusable. The battery on this is pretty big, so you can do a couple tires, at least 3 or 4, depending on the inflation pressure, and not run out of battery. So otherwise, a nice, more affordable option. As you can see here, we've done quite a few reviews. We have the CYCPLUS AS2. Nice metal body, and you can see it's actually metallic. So it looks and feels a lot more premium, feels lighter as well. And you put it side by side, you can see dimensionally, it's just a little bit smaller in every dimension, but very similar features. You don't get the LCD screen with the base model, and you don't get the LED or other additional features. So this one, you just turn it on and then hope for the best. So you can see quite loud, but the Coospo seems to be a little bit higher pitched. CYCPLUS also has a LCD version. This is their AS2 Pro Max. It's over $100 retail price, and you can see it has a display screen, but not nearly as nice or large, and no LED, which isn't really a useful feature anyways. But you can see similar features, and what's nice about this is the controls are a little more intuitive. Because you don't have the extra features, change of the units is just pressing both buttons, which is something you don't do all the time. And then I can actually long hold this to do quick pressure changes and then short presses. So I like this user interface more than this one where you accidentally try to double tap and then you switch the units. It's a little bit more cumbersome. And again, even with the Pro Max, you can see it's still smaller than the Coospo, which is a little bit surprising. There also is the Flextail, so it's more similar to the base CYCPLUS. Metal body, looks really nice, and then you can see a nozzle sticking out. Smaller, but no LCD display, so you don't really know what pressure you're getting. And similar USB-C charging port, no LED. So really simple and just a small compact alternative. Fanttik also has quite a few options. This is one of their larger bike-specific ones. And you can see you have a little display here on the side. A flexible nozzle, but obviously this is not something you're going to throw in your backpack. It's gigantic, quite a bit heavier. Tons of battery output though, which is nice. And you can also hear quite loud. But thanks to the bigger body, it's not quite as obnoxiously loud, so you can hear that again. So a little bit different design, but obviously less portable. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Coospo AP-B1. What you like about it is you have a high battery capacity. With 500 milliamps, you can get through 3, 4, or even more tires depending on the inflation level. You also have that very easy to switch design with the 2-in-1 hose. You simply extend out the center section or retract it for Schrader. You don't have to flip any parts or remember to flip a washer. It also has a large and easy to read LCD display with both the current pressure and then the target pressure in different colors. The main negatives with this is the fact that it's very loud. Most mini pumps are loud, but this one just seems to be a little bit louder. Also, the flashlight feature is pretty dim and kind of impractical, and it makes changing the target pressure slow because double pressing either the minus or plus button activates the flashlight or changes the units, which makes it frustrating to change the pressure value by larger values. You have to sit there and wait. Taking everything into account, we'd give the AP-B1 an 8.7 out of 10. It's an affordable mini pump option. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.